Hello and welcome to another edition of the Chat Nap with AI Chatterbox, Chuck and Howie. It is a glorious day and we're happy to start off our season 2. And this is continuation of the season 2. I'd like to introduce my cohort, Howard. How are you today?
I am better than I have been in a while.
You look better than the last time we talked. We just talked that we ended season 1. You went ahead and you were going on vacation.
Uh-huh. Yeah, we went to Europe for a couple of weeks, 2.5 weeks, and had a great time. But I ended up getting sick, not once, but twice. Once in the early part of it, for a couple of days, I ended up sleeping and taking a lot of juices and stuff. And then right at the end, when I was just before we came back, I caught a head cold. And anyway, so better now. Always enjoy going over to see our lab and see parts of the world that I've never seen before.
Yeah. Well, I have to point out to the audience that has been watching us that both of us are a little bit trimmer. I think you and I, our goal to get healthier is paying off.
Well, yes. Who goes on vacation to Europe for 2.5 weeks and loses 7 pounds? That's how sick I was.
Yes, that's not good.
I did not. I couldn't eat for a few days, even outside of, the worst part of it. Unusual, but down 40, which is good. I feel better. You're down even more, aren't you?
No, I'm only down 37.
Looking good.
Yeah, well, you started before me though.
Yeah, I've been doing this for about a year.
Yeah, before I went on this new medicine I'm on, it just kind of helps with the weight loss when nothing tastes good. I mean, I don't know about you, but in my case, my taste buds are terrible. I had a sandwich for lunch today and I ended up throwing it away because it just didn't taste good. I mean, nothing tastes good anymore. So,
that's not good.
No, not good. Yeah, not good at all. Well, let's talk about season 2. We're ready for it. We got a lot of great guests lined up, and so moving forward, today's guest is another leader in the metrology community. We're very excited to have us today, Rhett Price from IndySoft. Uh-huh. We both have a lot of friends within, the IndySoft program, and people probably don't know it or not, but I want to be sure I thank Rhett because they're a big supporter of NAPT as well. Yes. And that's I really like my supporters. I mean, anyone that supports NAPT, I'm really happy with. They're
biased,
but at least I'm honest that I'm biased.
Yeah,
so you can't be biased if you're honest about it, right?
Sure.
So with that, let's talk a little bit about Rhett. He grew up in South Carolina. I'm sure he has a story to tell us about that. He has a Bachelor of Arts in Computer Science and Business from Furman, which is actually a college that I played golf at. So maybe I got a golf.
Oh, you have?
Yes, I played. I got a great.
Surprised at that.
Well, I want to retire in Travelers Rest, and Travelers Rest is close to where they live, and Furman is just down the road from Travelers Rest as well. His introduction to calibration came after working at a local cal lab, MSC Viking, which is still a member of NAPT, and we do a lot of business with NAPT, with MSI Viking as well. In 1988 is when he actually started and co-founded IndySoft with his close friend Ben Sykes, and his father, helped him out, I guess. We'll get that story. He served as the technical officer from 98 to 2008 before stepping into the role of CEO. Since then, he's led IndySoft through a period of what can only be described as rapid growth.
Yeah.
They've expanded from 20 to 75 employees, and they are really launching a great set of software. They've improved it 100 times over.
Oh, I love what they've been doing. Fantastic.
Yeah. In the last 7 years, it's become basically a whole new program. Mm-hmm. From where it was back when they first released it. I remember seeing it when it was just, had to be on your desktop and you had to do the dial-up and all that stuff. So they've really come a long way from being a net-based application and a fabulous program. And we'll let Rhett explain that. Yeah. And we can learn how he grew the business. He's very passionate about other things, tennis, which, another thing that he and I have in common back in the day. Uh-huh. He loves live music, so you and him can have a conversation about.
We'll be talking about that.
Yeah. And he loves pinball. I've heard through employees at IndySoft that he loves his pinball, and we definitely have to figure out how he got interested in pinball and see if he's got any trophies on the wall for that. Happily married, has a son that he's lucky enough to have worked with him at IndySoft as well.
That's very
right on cue, Rhett.
There he is now.
I couldn't ask for better timing.
Fantastic.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Chris, welcome to the show.
Welcome, Rhett.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good to be here.
Yeah.
It's great to have you. So we got to start it out, Rhett, with right from the top of the show here. We see behind you a pinball machine.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, I have to admit, I've heard stories from other employees. As you probably know, I'm friends with quite a few of your employees.
Absolutely.
And we've heard that you are a pinball wizard.
I don't know about that, but I do love pinball. I kind of grew up as an 80s kid and spent a lot of time in arcades, and pinball has kind of had a resurgence over the last 5 years. I think with COVID, and that's how I got this one here during COVID. I was kind of in my office a lot, so I got a Foo Fighters pinball machine there.
I was going to ask
yeah.
on that one. Right.
Yeah. And so yeah, it's just kind of a hobby of mine.
Now, do you have other ones, or have you had other ones?
So I have 3 other digital pinball. That's kind of the new thing nowadays. Is kind of a so it could have 2,000 different tables.
I don't know that I've ever played digital pinball, but that can't have the same feel.
It's very close. So they have solenoids, and it looks and feels just like a real pinball. And there's a whole community of people who just simply scan boards and kind of recreate everything, and it's pretty cool. You can also hook it up to VR headset as well and play in 3D. So yeah, that's kind of what I did during the COVID time, and kind of for my spare time.
Well, that's if you look at the Pareto chart of things people did during COVID, pinball was not at the top. Sorry to break that news to you. What was at the top was drinking.
Yes, I did a little bit of that. As well.
People would buy sets, and of course, depending on the state you were in or county or whatever, here in the Kansas City area, all the golf courses were open because you were socially distanced, right? Automatically. So they let you go out and play, which was great.
Yes. Yeah. I did play a lot of tennis during that time as well.
Oh, yeah. Is that a drum set I see next to you?
That is. Yeah. I'm also a drummer and kind of dabble in that still.
As am I.
But yeah. Oh, awesome. I did not know that.
I've played since I'm self-taught. So we've had a trombone in the family. My brother, who's 12 years older than me, played the trombone. Of course, my parents didn't want me to play the drums.
Right.
So they redirected me towards the trombone. I'm like, I don't want to play
no thanks. Yeah.
But from the 3rd grade on, I took lessons. I was in the band. Didn't really enjoy that much until I got into high school in the jazz band. Now that was fun. I enjoyed that. But when I was about 14, I started, odd jobs or whatever else. I started saving my money up. I bought a piece at a time. I pieced together a set. Next thing you know, I'm a drummer.
Nice. That's awesome.
And I played off and on different bands here and there.
Yeah.
Nothing big.
Yeah.
We did have a Transcat band for a number of years.
Oh, really?
Got a number of recordings from that.
Oh,
but recently, I joined the band. So we're just getting started. We've been playing for about a month.
Oh, awesome.
We started mostly 80s tunes, but we're kind of doing some 70s and 90s in there as well.
Yeah.
So, but fun stuff.
Yeah. That's great.
Were you ever playing in the band?
I did in college.
I figured.
We opened for Hootie and the Blowfish, and that was about where I peaked.
That's awesome.
At that point before they were Hootie that they are today. But
that's okay.
Yeah, they're from the area around here. They live in Charleston. So.
Oh, okay. Didn't know that.
Yeah.
You haven't seen the communities with Hootie? He has a big Carolina commercial that's pretty popular.
Guess I didn't pay attention.
Yeah, you probably don't watch as much TV as I do, but Hootie's got his own commercial and he advertises it and rides around in his beautiful convertible 1968, I think that probably is.
Yeah.
Well, that leads me into one thing that I've done over the summer. I finally gave in and got my dream car.
Awesome. What was it?
You see that?
Oh my gosh.
1971 Corvette Stingray.
That is incredible.
350, 270 horsepower.
That is amazing.
Some new tires on it, and I love this car.
Wow.
This is something I've wanted to have since I had my Matchbox cars.
Right. Yeah.
And I had this emerald green Corvette Stingray. And it's the only one I remember in the set that I had.
Yeah.
But that was the only one I cared about.
Yeah. Right.
And I've always wanted this car. So I finally broke down and got it.
That is awesome.
So, very happy with that.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to rebuild the engine over the winter just to get it up to top shape. And my neighbor who lives, if you can see from the picture, the house with the white flowers back there. He just bought a brand new 2026 Corvette Stingray.
Oh, really?
The C8 model.
Yeah.
Beautiful car, right? I love the mid-body engine, but the C3s were my favorite.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's beautiful.
And he says, don't repaint it. Leave the patina the way it is. You can't really see it as much here in this picture, but it's got a little pitting here and there. And he says, just leave it the way it is. That's its character. Right. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
But that's probably
You started out at a Cal lab, and then you went into the software. So what brought you into the metrology community? How did you get introduced, and what steered you towards what you're doing now?
Yeah. So in the beginning, when I, got out of college, like a lot of kids, I just wanted a job, right? I wasn't looking for a particular, so I was a computer science business. And I just happened to, my dad was part owner of MSI at the time, or Mike Engage at the time.
I see. Okay.
And so he was like, hey, we could, I just got married right out of college. He's like, I have a 6-month project. If you want to come in and help us kind of, there was no real software for commercial labs. I think Lab made out of Washington State. They had something back at the time, but, so they wanted something of their own. So they hired me to do that. And so that's where I learned about metrology. I spent a lot of time actually programming it in a lab, like a 68-degree lab with, the team there. So I kind of, it was cool because I got to see, how everything works. Like I knew nothing about it.
Yeah. You're putting that newfound knowledge to good use.
Exactly. So we built that, and then it just happened to be, Rockwell, Automation out in Bradley, Data Mine at the time. They kind of called in what we were doing and, flew down to look at it, and they're like, hey, we think we can sell this, not just be for Viking. We think we can actually make it a product where they'll sell it, support it, and all I have to do is develop software. I'm like, that sounds great. And
awesome.
So we did that for about 5 years. It was successful, and but I just saw at that point, as I kind of learned more, I saw there was a real need for a more global, scalable application. There was most of these big companies that we were selling to had global operations, and everyone operating out of each individual facility separately, individually. And there wasn't a way to really kind of aggregate all that, calibration data and asset data. So that's when I ended up starting IndySoft, and kind of started from the ground up again and built something that could be scalable worldwide. And so that's kind of how IndySoft started.
All right. So I got to ask you, how did you select the name IndySoft? Where did that come from?
Yeah, that's a great question. I have no idea where it came from. We were trying to indicate speed, right? Like that was, at the time, being fast, application. I think a lot of people thought we came out of Indianapolis, which we didn't. We were in Greenville, South Carolina at the time. But yeah, it just kind of rang true. I don't know. We came up with it. The URL address, I think there were URL addresses back then, probably was available. And, but yeah, so just one of those things. But yeah, I think speed, that's kind of what we're trying to convey.
Not the thing I thought of initially when I looked at that name. I thought maybe something to do with industrial.
Yes. No, that is what our tagline back in the day was: industrial strength software.
Yeah, there we go.
Which kind of went along with that. Yes. So I kind of forgot about that tagline, honestly.
But yeah, with Indy in there.
Yeah.
Indianapolis 500.
Absolutely. Yeah. Couldn't hurt to piggyback off of that a little bit. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, you've taken software to a whole new level with IndySoft. I'm somewhat familiar with it, but really not familiar with it. So we probably have a few of our listeners that would love to know exactly in better detail than what I can describe or how I can describe on, where you're going with it. What are your accomplishments? Before you came on board, Rhett, I made a slight comment that the application now is just unbelievable. Just in the last 5 years, the improvements, the additions, it's become such a package. It's just fabulous. So, where is the dedication come from to take it to the level that you now have it? And what do you have in store for the future?
Well, I appreciate the compliment. Yeah, I mean, so from day one, kind of what we set out to be was a very customizable application, first of all, could cater to a lot of, enterprise needs. Generally, you have your core metrology needs that everybody kind of needs. But then There's a lot of other systems we have to hook into, whatever. And so that's what we wanted to be, a very flexible system. And so that's what we've driven to be. And we've also, in the very beginning, we're very sure to not have customized software. So it's still flexible, but it's still off the shelf, right? Like that's been kind of our mantra. The other thing is we don't want customers, you've been doing this for 25 years now. We don't want really customers to have to switch systems. I mean, technology has shifted a lot, right? And like that's, things are more web application, cloud software. So that's really what I've been focused on the last 5 years, is making that transition as easy as possible for our customers so they don't feel a lot of pain, but they're not seeing a lot of the work that we're doing behind the scenes to get us there. And so, and I would say the other thing is we've been, especially in the last 5 years, most of our feedback or the way the software grew was very much customer driven. We've been very big about, listening to customers. What are you looking for in the software? That type of thing, which has been great. However, I think at some point, when I took over as CEO 5 years ago, I was like, I think we really need to take the next step. And that is to really help drive this industry. I feel like it has been underserved at times, especially by the bigger players, because a lot of times you have maintenance and these bigger type companies really not focusing on metrology. We kind of want to be able to try and do both of those. And so that's when we went out and hired Greg Sinker, Mike Lynn, Walter Noason, kind of some of the head metrologists.
Powerhouse moves in my mind.
Yes. Well, thank you.
You did that. I thought this was going to shift.
Rhett, I need to share with you that Mike Lynn and I, we've been friends for 25, 30 years as well. And Mike, at one point in time, he wrote the first code for the software that we now offer for proficiency testing.
Oh, no way.
No way.
I did not know that.
Yeah, Mike was up in Minneapolis. I brought him up to Minneapolis several times. He took over my basement. He sat in front of, he put his table in front of a big TV, and he would just write code on top of code on top of code. He'd come to the office the next day. He'd share us what he wrote the night before. We tell him what's working, what's not. But no, Mike is responsible for the first actual code that we used. It was a desktop application. Yeah. But I have such respect for Mike. And I'll be honest with you, Rhett. If I could afford him, I'd hire him tomorrow from you. But
you can't say.
He's such a find. I mean, I love Mike. Obviously, he is what I call a true metrologist. He is one of those rare people that you've got a real employee there that I think you're aware of how valuable he is to your company.
Absolutely, yes, I wholeheartedly agree.
That's a pretty rare skill to be a metrologist that has that skill for writing code.
That's right. Absolutely.
And then he's got the bench strength. He's got the management background experience. Then you got Walter Noason, who's been pharmaceutical, medical device, knows all those details that are requirements of a big sector of your customer base.
Right.
And then you got Greg Sinker, who knows metrology inside and out, uncertainties and software and Mudcat's involvement. And wow, that's why I say that was a power move.
What is the biggest accomplishment that you think you've got to point? And you kind of didn't really hit on it, Rhett. Where are you going to in the future? What are your plans for the future for the software?
I think I'm most proud of just kind of, us being this little 3-man company in the beginning. When I took over 5 years ago, we were 20. Now we're 75 people. Mm-hmm. I think I'm most proud of just building a great team. And, it's, I think when you look at some of the customers that we are supporting, it's kind of mind blowing, this little company got to that. I think where we're going, about midway through this process, we also started supporting commercial labs. And so that's been a huge part of what we're doing. I honestly, when we first started, I was a little hesitant because you're running a lot of the business, right? You're running for enterprise. It's like you're doing a very targeted thing. With the commercial lab, they're depending on you for a lot of things. But that all absolutely changed everything for us because, first of all, commercial labs have high demand. So it made us really get the application in gear. We had to do a lot of stuff to support that. Where we're going in the future, I'm not sure if you guys know, but we hired Colin from
I'm aware of that.
Yes, from Fluke and Qualer Days, some competitor of ours, Colin Walker. He has been amazing for us. I think what's been cool is when I met Colin, it was kind of like looking in a mirror for someone who's been kind of doing the same things that I thought about for the last 10 years.
All in the same trajectory, right?
Yeah. And so for us to kind of get together, I think it's been really exciting. He's been with us about a year and a half now. We've been kind of putting in plan more what I would call content-based metrology, where we're actually able to provide not only the software, but the content inside of it. I don't want to say too much about that. We're going to be announcing a lot of that in the upcoming future, but that's one of the things that we saw, our customers doing constantly, right? They're all kind of doing the same. They're entering their data sheets and the uncertainty budgets and all that, and kind of doing the same thing over and over. There's just a lot of repetition. So we're like, what if we can take our knowledge in the industry and with Greg and all these guys, and really put together something with a data team that can pull all that data in and be able to provide that for our customers.
Yeah,
So
that's what I assumed you would take advantage of. The fact that your customer base, as it grows, you're going to have commonalities that everyone needs, right?
Yes.
You're going to have frustrating points that they all go through, and you're going to solve those problems. And it's just going to make it even better and better all the time.
Yeah, exactly. So,
well, I'd like to say, Rhett, I think the best comment that I got from your employees is that the respect you have from the culture that you built, where there's not one employee that would badmouth you. And I tell you the truth, that's that I am. But every employee that I know that I've talked to has nothing but, they love you. They think that working for IndySoft is a dream come true.
Well,
so
just
I wish I was 50 years
hanging out
younger.
with those guys at the conferences. It's a united front without it saying a word. It's just a united front, right?
Great. Well, that's very nice. So,
yeah. Well, like I said, if I was 50 years younger, I'd start writing code just to come work for you. So,
well, I got to say, I first became aware of IndySoft. My earliest recollection was probably early 2000s, 2002, 3, 4, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Just aware of it, right?
Yes.
Not really looking at it for anything.
Right.
But then, 2013, we started with a new client who used IndySoft. And that's when I first started getting involved in more details of what it can do.
Right.
We were only using it at that point as an interface. They were using it in their production connections to show calibration due dates and all that to make sure everything was in line. But we were still using our software for Transcat, right?
Yes, right.
Because with most software applications off the shelf for calibration, for metrology, they don't have the details for the formulas you need and a lot of the calculations you need to do, the graphs, the charts, the things that you need to have. And we had built a lot of that into CalTrack. Now, CalTrack has never been a commercial application, right? It's only been for Transcat to use. But it beats a lot of the off-the-shelf stuff. Now, let's change the focus and look at what you're competing against.
Yes.
When we look at, I think the majority of our market is life science, right? So you're talking pharmaceutical, biotechnology, medical device. The off-the-shelf packages that those companies use, the manufacturers of those products, are typically things like Blue Mountain software, right? SAP, Maximo,
right?
ProCal, things like that.
Yeah.
I see occasionally that they use IndySoft. And we'll talk about that in a second because I want to see how you're going to grow in that area. But a lot of, when you look at the calibration modules in those packages, those software packages are not built for calibration. They're built for managing, the processes for life science companies.
Right.
The calibration piece is rather weak in most of them.
Correct.
And so we try to avoid that and try to use our software because we've got tens of thousands of data sheets already written. Why would we want to reinvent the wheel? Yep. And then we get locked up in formulas we can't do in those other packages, right? Those other CMMS packages. IndySoft's a little different, and you've been developing it. I imagine that you're taking that further to become more competitive in life science applications, which is why you probably brought Walter on board, right?
That's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So where are you headed with that?
Yeah, I think so. We've in the beginning, you mentioned Blue Mountain. I think we kind of, we were so busy doing other things. We were like, all right, they can have that, right? Like, because it does take more resources. Like, it's tougher when we had 10 people here to really tackle a life science project because it does just takes a lot more validation, all those things.
Yeah. I mean, I've done the Blue Mountain training because of other customers that have it, and they're pretty strong in their preventive maintenance package and all of the, bill of materials and costs and all that.
Right.
Weak in calibration. So
I don't think they used to be really calibration focused, but I believe they have shifted to a larger market. It makes sense from a business perspective. I get it,
Correct.
So I think the approach that we're kind of taking is more of a, look, we're not wanting to go in and replace a Maximo or replace a SAP or whatever. We would rather be a companion piece to that. And that's kind of the way we, over the last couple of years, have been approaching it as more a tool where, SAP would still be kind of the system of record, but let us handle everything else calibration. Let us do all the data collection and scheduling and all that, maybe pass that back on to SAP. And so basically be an add-on package. Because I think what happens is these big companies, they hear, SAP's a great application for, your global installation. But I think a lot are just like, I'll use it for calibration too. I mean, it costs several $1 million. I mean, I'm sure it does that, but so we're trying to be more of like, hey, let us take that piece off of you, integrate with SAP. We have a really good integration with SAP now.
So you have to have that, right? That's a requirement.
Yes.
If you're going to be a supplementary piece of software for those bigger programs,
that's right.
You've got to have something where it shares the information freely.
Yeah, exactly.
And I imagine you spend a lot of time with that.
We do. Yep. Yeah. We have actually a new system we're launching this year for integration. So in the past, it's been more of like, can you integrate with this? Yes, we've done it with these 20 clients, and we did it. But we've actually been putting all that together into a kind of a marketplace where you can simply turn on SAP integration, turn on Maximo integration, whatever.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we're really excited about that. That's coming up at the end of this year. So it'll be more visible and it's just easier. So the customer can actually implement it themselves. They can map their fields and exchange the data without having to, get IndySoft involved. So, that's a big part of what we're doing.
We'd like to ask some personal questions. We really would like our audience to know who you are, Rhett. So, for example, so we're going to do a series we're going to ask some questions now that are about Rhett more than anything else. Okay, let me start it off and Howard and I kind of go back and forth. He's got his list of questions and I got my list. So the first question I'd like to ask you is, you've got a drum set there. Do you have a favorite drummer? Do you have a favorite rock band? What is your favorite type of music?
So I like kind of alternative rock. I would say my favorite. I kind of like a wide range of people. I would say Jimmy Chamberlain from the Smashing Pumpkins would be my favorite drummer. I've seen them many, many times live. He has a jazz drumming background. His family were all musicians, and I just love his drumming style. But I also love Neil Peart. I can't say that without saying Rush. Yeah, I actually have a pretty good story about that. I have a friend who invited me to see Rush. And he didn't really say anything. He just like, hey, would you want to go? And he wasn't someone who could travel that much. I was like, okay. So anyway, we ended up going. It was in Tampa. We get there, and it turns out his brother had played golf with Alex Lifeson. Alex Lifeson.
Wow.
While he was down there, I think he had to go to court or something. I think it was like his son wedding. I forget what it was. But anyway, he didn't tell me, but we got to go hang backstage before the show with Alex and Getty. And so now cool. Neil wouldn't talk with us, but they did let me sit outside his room while he warmed up for like an hour. So I got to hear him.
So cool.
It was unbelievable. Yeah. So
the closest I can get to that is Kenny Lee's birthday was just a few days ago.
I wasn't really.
Yeah. And it was on Facebook. And I don't usually go on Facebook other than for Marketplace and things like that. But anyway, so I wish him a happy birthday. I said, oh yeah, I got this brand new 71 Corvette, or brand new. I just bought a 71 Corvette, and I got specialty plates, Rush 71, right?
No,
so he liked it. Then Alex Lifeson got there and liked it. That's the closest I got.
Oh, that's incredible. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm sure they would not remember me at all. Yeah. But I still got to hang with them for a couple
That's
hours.
really cool.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite band of all time, clearly, Neil Peart.
Yeah.
My mentor. Speaking of mentors, now I'll jump into my question. Who influenced you the most in your life?
influenced me the most. I mean, it's probably cheesy, but I have to say my dad.
Okay.
Yeah, I think my dad had just this really incredible work ethic. Maybe I didn't appreciate as much when I was a kid,
Don't.
but I think it has served me well over the years, especially starting a company, just not giving up, being a bulldog, I think is kind of what my dad taught me. And he also was a big computer guy back in the day. He was, around my house, he would have like, that's crazy in the, late 70s, he would have amazing computers because he sold that kind of on the side. And so that introduced me. We had a TRS-80, TI 99.4A. That was kind of what he would be probably my biggest influence.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
You
good.
don't hear that. You don't hear that too often. It's really very touching,
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah, it's really, thanks for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
Well, the next question, first of all, Howard, have I ever shared my Bob Seger story? Okay, I'll make it short. I'm a little bit older than you think I am. I look young, but I was a bouncer many, many years ago at a bar in Lansing, Michigan.
Okay.
And Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet played this bar. And like I said, I was a bouncer, and I was working the back door when he was there playing. This is right at the point where he was ready to make that jump. He was still a rock and roll band, but he'd cut an album. But he just had, Silver Bullet wasn't that big yet. I mean, there was like the next year they went crazy. But anyways, short story long, I'm on the back door. They're playing at this bar in East Lansing, Michigan, at Michigan State University. And he comes out the back door on break. And at the time, I'm doing something that's illegal. And he come out there with Alto, and we shared a joint. And
that's cool.
That's my
That's
Bob Seger
amazing.
story. Yeah,
That's a pretty good story. Wow.
So that's. I'm not a musician at all. So every time we have it seems like almost every guest we have, Howard.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but they're a musician.
A lot of musicians. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You gotta get
Especially metrologist, it's the math thing, right? As math goes with music. Yeah. Greg Sinker, he's a great guitar player. And
What is your most embarrassing moment in life? I mean, do you have it or something that you can share with us that's not too embarrassing?
Oh, gosh, my most embarrassing moment was back in middle school. I was in 6th grade and had like the biggest crush on this 8th grader girl. And I distinctly would have never talked to her ever, but I was, kind of always looking from afar. Anyway, we're in gym, and one day she's sitting there waving at me. I'm just sitting there. I'm looking. I'm like, oh my gosh, she knows who I am. Like, this is amazing. And I'm like, and then she's like, and then I turn around, and they're like, the 8th grade, like, stood up the whole right there, like right behind me. And I'll never forget it. Right. Like, it's just like one of those things.
Moment.
It was, yes. So now I don't wave back at anybody. I just look down at the ground.
That's a great story.
That feeling is horrible. What's the last concert you went to?
Oh, a band called Sleep Token. I just took my son there last week. I've never heard of them either. He became obsessed with it. He was like, told me this band, and they're in Greensboro. It's like a 5-hour drive away. Mm-hmm. But we like doing concerts with each other. So we went up, and it was awesome. It was huge, like massive fan base. It was a Coliseum, and it was packed, and a lot of younger people, 20, 30s. It was really fun. It was a weird band. I mean, they're like, the singer sounds like British R&B, but then it's like death metal kind of thing thrown in with that. It was weird, but it was pretty cool.
And a corollary to that question, who have you not seen that you wish you would have live?
I know that easy. That is the Strokes, who are actually still playing, but I like back in the day in 2000, I was obsessed with the Strokes, and I could just never get a chance to go see them.
Yeah.
And they still play around every once in a while. I had tickets last year, and I think, I don't know, I had something messed up and I couldn't go. But
I wish I would have seen the Police when they were in their heyday.
Yes, I saw them on the reunion tour in 2008, and that was awesome.
My wife and I actually, a few years ago, maybe 4, went out to Red Rocks and saw Sting. And phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
Still good. Still got the pipes. Still
I
good.
love Sting. No, I've seen Sting every time he's around. I've probably seen him 15 times. Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's amazing. Yeah, the guy doesn't age. It's crazy.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah.
Red, I'm getting kind of the impression that you really are into more music than what I'm led to believe. It sounds like you're really into music.
So I travel to see a lot of concerts here in the coast in Charleston. It's a great place to live. It's beautiful, but we don't get a lot of big concerts just because it's out of the way. So we travel to New York probably 5 or 6 times a year just to go see I'll go and just see 5 bands for a week.
Yeah.
Kind of get my fix and then come back.
Nice.
Fun.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you a different kind of question. So we talked about who your biggest hero was. Is there anybody in history that made an impression on you? For example, like in my case, George Patton. I'm a big George Patton fan. I've read everything about him. I've read his book. I know a lot about George Patton. So is there anybody in history that you could point to as someone that you kind of leaned on or respected or learned from?
Sure. I mean, while I think maybe he wasn't the best person after reading his biography, I think Steve Jobs was someone that I admired. I feel like from a business perspective, from the way he could hone in on what made a product special, I think was something that I've always admired and strive for. Not like I've done anything like that, but I would say that would be someone.
I quote Steve Jobs all the time. One of his famous quotes that I quote is, "Takes a lot of hard work to make life simple."
Yes.
So, Rhett, is there any questions you'd like to ask Howie or myself?
Sure. I also love movies, like a lot of people do. What would you pick your favorite movie to be if you had a favorite movie?
Oh my goodness, I love movies first and foremost. And I love the character actors who you don't really know their name, but you see them in all these movies, right? And I'm not talking about Samuel L. Jackson. He's in every movie.
Right.
I'm talking about the no-name people, right?
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with some of the series. I am a Dexter fan.
Yeah.
And I've watched the new Resurrection, series, the season that they have for that one.
Right.
Breaking Bad, another great one that I loved.
Yeah.
Right. But as far as movies go, Shawshank Redemption, I know they play it over and over and over on TV all the time.
Amazing.
But that was a fantastic movie.
Yeah, you can watch it 100 times and it just still hits you.
And it's so interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Chuck?
Well, we talk about television series. One that I highly recommend, and I'll tell you my favorite movie of all time.
Yeah,
but is Peaky Blinders. I don't know if you guys have seen that on Netflix.
I have not watched it yet.
I have not seen that either yet.
I highly recommend it.
You're the third person that's recommended that.
Yeah. Peaky Blinders it was great acting, great writing. If you want great film, that is, and I can't wait for the movie to come out, but that is absolutely. Cillian Murphy is in that one, and he's fabulous in it. It is. Every single episode is just about perfect. It doesn't get much better. I mean, the last episode where things happened is probably pushed a little bit, but I highly recommend that to anybody. But I'm old school. I remember my first real movie that I went to in person at the theater, Godfather. I went to The Godfather.
At the movie theater.
At the theater when it first came out.
That's cool. I
was too young to see that at the theater.
Yeah.
But I remember the first time I watched it and I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
So I go 1 and 2. I mean, those are, to me, 2 of the greatest movies ever made. Not a big fan of 3, but he needed, Coppola needed money, so that's why he did 3.
Right. Yeah.
So that's my movies, but I'm the same way,
I'm with you, Rhett.
What about me?
You have a favorite?
Probably Forrest Gump. I love it.
I just watched that recently. So when you're in Portugal, our friends have a villa there, and he built a theater room that's amazing. So when you start the movie, the lights go down just like in the theater. When you movie ends, it comes back up. Yeah. The sound was phenomenal, but the first one that we watched there was Forrest Gump.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I think it still holds up. It's probably a little more sentimental at this point.
So, little trivia fact that you may know, maybe not. The scenes where he's running in Forrest Gump were going to be cut, right, for cost reasons, and they didn't think it was that interesting.
Yeah.
And Tom Hanks and the director thought they believed in that so much that needed to be in there that they paid for that themselves.
Oh, really?
They took that gamble and it paid them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I hope they got some back end money on that when they did that.
When we first started, we said that it's going to go by quick.
Yes.
And believe it or not, I just got my notice 45 minutes.
All right.
Well, I personally want to thank you. I mean, one of your employees sits on the board of directors for NEPT, and you're a big supporter of NEPT. And I know you don't want to talk about it too much, but personally, I thank you, and the metrology community thanks you for supporting that as well. Okay, so we're going to have a 30th anniversary for NEPT next year. I would like to know if you can make your announcement of your next major product at our anniversary party. So I'm inviting you to our anniversary party.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah. So you either come to
that's going to be here in Kansas City.
Oh, it's really?
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So
let's do it.
Century is in Kansas City.
We want to try and get all of our sponsors there, and we're going to really do a really good big party. And because you only turned 30 years old one time.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's quite an accomplishment.
Milestone. It is. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So you've answered for us what's next for you for IndySoft. You got a lot of things on the table. It sounds like you guys, you got programmers. I've talked with some of your staff. You guys are doing nothing but constantly improving your product. It's can only become even better than it already is. And like we said, in the last 5 years, you've jumped tenfold forward in 5 years. I mean, it's kind of hard to improve on excellence. It must be getting tougher now to even get better than what you already are. But there's always
there's always a lot of room for improvement. 100%. Yeah.
Oh, customers will let you know what we're in.
Absolutely. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
So well good.
Thanks for listening.
So Howard, any further questions that we can bug Rhett with?
No, this has been a thrill to finally talk with you. I've known about you for years and love you, and really great to have you on the show. Thank you.
It's been great. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, we really, really appreciate it, Rhett, again. And if there's I like to say this as well, but if there's anything I can do personally, please let me know, because we really do thank you for all your support. It means a lot to us. If you want to prove your technical competency, then you need to enroll in proficiency testing, and you need to do it today. So with that being said, take care. We look forward to the next podcast, and thank you for subscribing to the channel.
Absolutely. Thank you.
How are you? See you
guys.